Before we begin this morning prayer, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Some mornings I wake up already looking backward, before my feet hit the floor. Before the day even has a chance to unfold, I'm replaying yesterday like a broken loop. The things I said wrong, the words I didn't say, the looks I misread, the hours I wasted, the moment I didn't show up the way I wish I had. And it's quiet, but loud inside. Not shouting, but heavy, like a quiet judgment settling in before I even have time to find my breath. And it makes me want to stay under the covers. Not because I'm tired, but because I don't know how to face a new day while still carrying the weight of the last one. And that's where I am this morning. Not with clear direction, but with this ache of regret I can't seem to release. And maybe that's why I need you so much right now. Not as a judge, not as a critic, but as the kind of presence that can look at my yesterdays and not flinch. As the kind of love that sees me still trying and stay. Because it's not that I don't want to move forward. I do. I want to begin again. I want to breathe differently today, softer, kinder, freer. But the blame clings tight, and it's not even from others. It's from me, my own heart, reminding me of where I stumbled, like it's trying to protect me by never letting me forget. But it doesn't feel like protection. It feels like prison. And I know you didn't create this day so I could live it in chains. I know you didn't wake me up so I could relive yesterday's pain. So help me begin again, not with denial, but with grace. Help me look at yesterday honestly, but not let it define today. Help me start over without needing to erase the past, but also without dragging it like a weight behind me. So I bring you my guilt, not because I want to wallow in it, but because I want to be free of it. I bring you the self-talk that's been on repeat since I opened my eyes, the voice that says, you should have known better, and why didn't you try harder, and look what you lost. I bring you those words so that you can quiet them, not by pretending they weren't there, but by reminding me that they aren't the only truth, that maybe grace has something else to say, that maybe your voice is not one of blame, but of restoration. That maybe the deepest healing begins not with fixing, but with being seen and still loved. And I need that love this morning, God, not the kind that waits for me to improve, the kind that walks in right now while I'm messy and unsure and stuck, the kind that holds me steady without demanding a quick turnaround, the kind that lets me grieve without rushing me toward positivity. The kind that lets me sit here in the not knowing, in the wish it were different, and still says, you are mine. Even now, I need the love that wraps around me like a blanket and reminds me that mistakes don't erase my value, that a broken yesterday doesn't mean I can't hold joy today, that whatever happened then, this moment is still holy, still full of potential, still sacred. So help me treat myself as someone you love. Help me speak to myself the way you would speak to me, gently, honestly, but always with compassion. Help me stop rehearsing what I can't change and start leaning into what I can. This breath, this prayer, this willingness to begin again. And if I cross paths again with the people I've hurt, help me show up differently, not to perform, not to prove, but to be present with love. Help me take responsibility without losing myself in guilt. Help me see that accountability is not the same as self-condemnation. That repair doesn't require shame as fuel. That growth can happen even in the quiet moments where I choose softness instead of self-punishment. Help me stop waiting for the perfect day to start again. Let it be today. Let it be this breath. Let it be this whisper. I don't have to carry it all anymore. I don't know how the day will unfold. Maybe it will be clumsy. Maybe I'll still feel echoes of what I wish I could undo. But I want to meet it with openness. I want to hold space for possibility again. I want to believe that I can live through this day with more tenderness than yesterday. Not because I've earned it, but because you offer it freely. Not because I'm flawless now, but because you never required perfection to begin with. I want to walk through this day without the constant weight of self-blame on my shoulders. I want to breathe without flinching. I want to speak without rehearsing. I want to live like someone who is forgiven, even if I'm still learning how to receive it. So please, keep reminding me. When I slip back into self-criticism, remind me to pause. When I replay conversations in my head, remind me to breathe. When I try to rewrite what can't be rewritten, remind me to rest in what can still be restored. Let grace be louder than regret today. Let hope be louder than shame. Let presence be louder than perfectionism. And when I forget, remind me again, not with scolding, but with softness. Not with urgency, but with patience. Not with distance, but with nearness. Thank you for this morning. Not because it feels easy, but because it exists. Because it means I get to try again. Because it means there's still something unfolding that includes me, even if I don't understand it yet. Because it means you still see me as someone worth loving, worth guiding, worth staying close to. Thank you for the kindness you offer without condition, for the love that doesn't flinch, for the gentleness that meets me in my harshest thoughts, for the way you keep showing up, even when I try to hide. Let me begin today without blame. Let me carry forward not the weight of what was, but the hope of what could be. Let me look at myself through the eyes of mercy, not through the lens of every mistake. Let me believe, even for one more moment, that I can be new here, that you are not done with me, that this breath is still a sacred invitation to be held, to be healed, to be human and holy all at once. It's strange how the past can feel more present than the moment I'm standing in, how something that already happened, already ended, can echo so loudly in the silence of the morning. I thought sleep might make it lighter. I thought closing my eyes last night would give my heart the space to reset, to find stillness again. But I woke up and it was still there, like a shadow I can't shake, like a memory that loops in my chest more than in my mind. I can feel the weight of yesterday's tone, that sharp word I wish I'd softened, that silence I wish I'd broken, that feeling I ignored that I should have paid attention to. And the temptation to spiral is strong, to keep revisiting what I can't change, to believe that if I replay it enough, I'll rewrite it somehow. But I know that's not how healing works. And I know that's not what you want for me. You're not calling me to relive pain. You're calling me to release it. Not because it didn't matter, but because I matter more than my mistakes. And maybe the hardest part isn't the regret itself. Maybe it's learning how to let go of the identity I keep attaching to it. I tell myself I messed up. And somehow that becomes, I am a mess up. I made a mistake, and it becomes, I am a failure. But that's not truth. That's not how you see me. You see the moment for what it was. One chapter in a much longer story. One stumble in a life that's still growing, still unfolding. You don't reduce me to that single scene. You see the whole of me, the layers, the longing, the learning. And when I come to you full of guilt and tight with self-blame, you don't mirror that energy. You answer with mercy. You respond with rest. You open the door to begin again without making me pay penance first. So help me believe you. Help me trust that this day isn't already ruined just because I'm carrying something from yesterday. Help me believe that you can do something beautiful even with a weary start. Help me trust that I don't have to be perfect to begin, that I don't have to erase the past to make space for peace, that maybe peace comes exactly when I stop trying to fix myself and just let myself be held in the honesty of the moment, held in the truth that I'm still worthy of light, held in the knowing that you are not afraid of my sadness, my mistakes, my questions, my ache. You are the God who draws near to the raw and the real, not to scold, but to soothe, not to demand, but to dwell. I want to walk into this day without the old weight shackled to my ankles. I want to feel the difference between reflection and rumination. I want to learn from the past without being locked in it. I want to grow forward instead of falling backward into blame. I want to show up to the people I love without carrying the shame of every time I didn't get it right. I want to stop dragging yesterday into every conversation, every choice, every breath. And I know that means I have to forgive myself, not just mentally, but emotionally. I have to release the grip I keep on the moments that wounded me. I have to let compassion reach the corners of my heart I usually leave out. I have to stop thinking healing will happen when I've punished myself enough, and instead believe it happens when I soften toward myself, when I let grace speak louder than guilt. So speak to me, God, not in thunder, not in grand declarations, but in quiet reminders. Let the light on the wall remind me I'm still here. Let the first sip of water be a baptism of newness. Let the texture of the blanket against my skin remind me that comfort is allowed, even now. Let the sound of the birds or the stillness of the room remind me that the world hasn't ended because I made a mistake. It's still spinning. You're still near. My story is still being written, and shame doesn't hold the pen. I want to start this day with honesty, not with armor. I want to walk into the hours ahead without rehearsing apologies that were never mine to carry. I want to be present to the goodness that still exists, even if I'm not sure I deserve it yet. I want to believe that I don't have to hustle for forgiveness, that you've already placed it in my hands, waiting for me to believe it belongs there. I want to live from a place of love instead of lack, to move not from desperation to redeem myself, but from the quiet truth that I'm already redeemed, that even here, especially here, I'm being made new. And maybe that starts with one step, not a leap, not a performance. Just one soft step toward the morning light, toward a voice that speaks life and not blame, toward actions that reflect healing, not fear, toward a version of me that's not trying to be perfect, just present, just willing, just open. Because I don't want to waste this day trying to make up for yesterday. I want to live it fully, freely, lovingly. And I can't do that if I'm still shackled to what I can't change. There's a version of this day I imagined in my head, and then there's the one I'm waking up to now, and they don't always match. The version I imagined was full of lightness, of energy, of clarity. The version I'm stepping into feels tender, uncertain, a little slower than I thought it would be. And I'm learning to make peace with that. I'm learning that sometimes the most sacred beginnings are the ones that feel the least polished, the ones that come with hesitation, with whispers instead of bold declarations, with gentle breath instead of strong strides. And maybe that's the kind of beginning you invite me into, the one that doesn't require me to be ready in any traditional sense, but just willing to show up, willing to let go, willing to not hold myself hostage to every decision I made yesterday, willing to see myself as you do, not as a project to fix, but as a soul to love, a heart to hold, a person still unfolding. This morning is asking me to choose presence over punishment, and that choice isn't always easy, because punishment is familiar, it's predictable, it feels like control. If I can just feel bad enough, maybe I can balance the scale. But you're not asking me to balance anything. You've already carried the weight. You're not asking for atonement through self-blame. You're asking for honesty, for surrender, for the kind of trust that lays down shame and picks up grace, even when it feels uncomfortable. And it does feel uncomfortable sometimes. To be honest, grace can feel like too much when I'm used to scarcity, like something I haven't earned. But maybe that's the point. It was never meant to be earned, just received, just breathed in like morning air, just believed, even when it stretches my understanding of what I think I deserve. So here I am again, still trying to release what clings, still catching myself rehearsing old narratives, still needing to be reminded that forgiveness isn't just for others, it's for me too. Still needing to hear that I'm allowed to live from love, not from fear. Still needing to unlearn the idea that if I'm not hard on myself, I'll lose my way. You know how deeply that belief runs. You know the storylines I've carried since childhood about being good enough, proving my worth, getting it right. You know how easily I slip into the habit of being my own harshest critic, and you meet me here, not with more judgment, but with gentle eyes, with silence that doesn't accuse, with stillness that doesn't demand, with a presence that tells me I'm safe, even here. Let today be one long inhale. Let it be soft and slow. Let it move through my body and push out what doesn't belong, every lie I've told myself about my value, every voice that says I should be ashamed for being human, every thought that says I missed my chance to begin again. Let today be the kind of new that isn't loud but deep, the kind that happens in the quiet commitment to treat myself better than I did yesterday, not because I owe it to anyone, not because I have something to prove, but because I'm learning that love starts with how I see myself when no one else is watching, with how I talk to my own heart when it's fragile, with how I respond to the ache I wake up with. And you are teaching me that love never starts with blame. So help me, God. Help me walk through this day as someone who believes they're worth kindness. Help me let go of the script that says I should have done more, been more, said less, held it together better. Help me untangle myself from the illusion that I need to be punished into change. I don't want to grow out of guilt. I want to grow from grace. I want to move toward wholeness because I know I'm loved, not because I'm afraid I'm not. And I know that means I have to stay close to you, not just in moments of worship, but in the middle of self-doubt, in the middle of making a simple breakfast, in the middle of remembering something that hurts, in the middle of choosing a softer response when my instinct is to pull away or snap. I need you to be my companion in all of it, not just my rescuer from it. Because healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about being with myself differently. And I want to be with myself differently today. I want to pause before the self-criticism takes over. I want to notice when my shoulders tighten and ask what they're holding. I want to catch the sigh before it turns into shutdown. I want to choose compassion even when it's awkward and unfamiliar. I want to lean into the truth that being kind to myself isn't indulgent, it's essential. It's the soil where restoration begins. It's the foundation for how I'll show up in the world. Because when I start my day with gentleness, it changes how I touch everything else. And maybe today won't go perfectly. Maybe I'll stumble again. Maybe I'll hear those old voices sneak in, and maybe I'll listen to them for a moment longer than I want to. But let me come back quickly. Let me notice the shift. Let me name what's happening and choose a different way. Let me return to this moment, to this breath, to this truth that I am allowed to start over as many times as I need. That each breath is a new beginning. That each time I choose softness over shame, I'm choosing life. That you are not tracking how many times I fall, but how often I return. And I want to keep returning to you, to love, to the truth that this life is still beautiful, still worth showing up for, even on the days that start heavy. Thank you for not needing me to impress you. Thank you for never asking me to earn what you freely give. Thank you for seeing my heart beneath the heaviness, for knowing when I need silence more than advice, for understanding the nuance of my emotions when I don't even have words. Thank you for reminding me that the journey isn't linear, that healing has dips and curves and pauses, that some days all I'll do is stay upright, and that's enough. That even if I cry while brushing my teeth or stare at the wall a little longer than usual, you're still with me. Not waiting on the other side of my sadness, but right in the middle of it, holding it with me, helping me carry it without collapse. I don't want to carry shame into this day like it's part of my uniform, something I have to wear to remind myself of how I failed. I don't want to walk into this morning with my shoulders already low, with my heart already burdened, with my mind already full of should-haves and why-didn'ts that press into me like a list I'll never complete. I want to begin differently. I want to wake up and believe that I'm not defined by what I didn't do right yesterday, that I'm not forever tied to the version of me who was too tired, too reactive, too scattered. I want to look in the mirror and see a face that's still loved, not one that's marked with invisible red ink from all the self-corrections I think I need to make. I want to believe that grace isn't reserved for later, for when I get it together, but that it meets me here, even before I've made my bed or taken a full breath. I want to remember that your love isn't afraid of my mess, that your mercy doesn't need me to pretend, and that I'm still allowed to be soft, even if the world feels sharp. Sometimes I wonder why it's so hard to let go of blame, why it wraps itself around my thoughts like it belongs there, why I find myself picking up memories like they're pieces of proof against my own worthiness. And maybe it's because part of me still believes that holding on to blame is a form of responsibility, that if I let myself be forgiven too quickly, I'm letting myself off the hook. But deep down, I know that's not how you work. You're not looking for people who keep punishing themselves. You're looking for hearts that are willing to turn back toward love. And that's what I want to do today, not erase what happened, but let it soften under the weight of grace. Not pretend it didn't affect me, but also not let it control who I become. I want to learn how to carry memory without letting it become identity. I want to live as someone who is shaped by the past, but not imprisoned by it. So, as I step into this day, help me notice the places where blame is still trying to hide. The way I speak to myself when I make a small mistake. The way I hesitate to hope because I think I don't deserve good things. The way I flinch at kindness because I'm afraid I haven't earned it. Help me see all of it for what it is. Not truth, but residue. Not conviction, but leftover stories that don't belong in the present moment. And help me meet those stories with love. Help me respond to them the way you respond to me, with steady eyes and a quiet voice that says, "You are already mine." You don't have to keep proving it. Let that voice be louder than the noise. Let that truth become the space I live in. Let this morning be about beginning, not in the way the world defines it, with fresh goals and perfect energy, but in the deeper way, beginning with breath, beginning with acceptance, beginning with the decision to stay present even when my thoughts pull me back into yesterday, beginning with the small, sacred act of making peace with myself. I know it won't all shift in an instant. I know some parts of me will still reach for old habits, but I also know that you are patient, that you walk with me at the pace I can handle, that you never shame me for needing time. So let this be my pace today, slow, intentional, full of pauses that let grace in. If I find myself spiraling again, help me stop. If I catch myself repeating an old narrative, help me notice. If I feel the pressure to punish myself, help me breathe. Help me step away from cycles that don't serve me. Help me choose gentleness over judgment. Help me remember that I am not my worst moment, that I am more than what I regret, that I am allowed to feel joy even if I felt sorrow, that I am allowed to smile even if I cried yesterday, that there is no rule book that says I have to stay stuck in what was just because I haven't figured out everything yet. Let this be a day of grace in motion, a day where where I practice not blaming myself for everything I can't control. A day where I let go of the need to have the perfect words. A day where I stop apologizing for simply being human. Let this be a day where I notice the light instead of looking for where I fell short. A day where I pay attention to the way you're still moving, still working, still loving me through it all. And maybe, if I'm lucky enough to see it, I'll recognize your presence in the smallest places. The silence between my thoughts, the warmth in my hands, the breeze through the window, the stillness in my soul after I stop striving. Maybe I'll feel you not as a distant God, but as the breath beside me, the comfort in me, the strength under me. And if this day brings challenges, help me meet them without the added weight of shame. If I need to speak up, help me do it with courage, not self-doubt. If I need to rest, help me do it without guilt. If I need to ask for forgiveness, help me ask without dragging myself through unnecessary suffering first. Help me see that true repentance is not about self-loathing. It's about turning back toward love. It's about restoration, not destruction. And if someone offers me grace today, help me receive it. Help me believe that I don't have to earn it. That sometimes healing starts with saying yes to what feels too good to be true and trusting that it's real anyway. So here I am again, starting this day with nothing more than honesty and breath. No performance, no perfection, just a quiet willingness to be loved, just a heart that's tired of blame and ready for something softer, something sacred, something that doesn't ask me to prove myself, but invites me to remember who I've always been, your child, your beloved, your becoming. Not because I've gotten it all right, but because I'm still here, still showing up, still saying yes to growth, yes to grace, yes to a life not driven by fear or shame, but by love. Let that be my truth today. Let that be how I begin again. This morning, I remind myself once again that I am not what went wrong, that the decisions I regret don't cancel the love I deserve, that the silence I kept yesterday doesn't make me unworthy of being heard today, that the version of me who struggled, who stumbled, who shut down or spoke too quickly or held back too long doesn't need to be erased, only understood, only brought into light, only given the same compassion I would offer a friend. I've been so good at giving grace away to others, but so slow to receive it for myself. I've held at a distance, thinking maybe if I could fix everything first, I'd finally feel worthy enough to accept it. But that moment never arrives, because grace was never about being ready. It was always about being real, and I am real this morning, real with the way my heart still aches when I think about how I could have handled things differently, real with the way I flinch when I hear my own name in my head, real with how much I want to be free of this heaviness. And I know you see all of that, and I know you're not disappointed. You're simply here, and maybe that's the miracle. You are here before I explain, before I fix, before I shine. You are here, steady, silent, strong, and your love doesn't shift based on how well I'm doing. It doesn't falter when I falter. It doesn't hesitate when I hesitate. It stays, and I'm starting to believe that the safest place for me to be on mornings like this isn't behind walls or beneath pressure or hidden beneath layers of shame. It's right here in the open, where the light can find me, where you can reach me without obstruction, where I can finally stop defending myself against the lie that I'm too far gone, because I'm not. And you know that. You've always known that. Let this final breath of morning become my anchor. Let it slow the spinning. Let it draw me back from the cliffs of regret. Let it plant me firmly in now, where the past is acknowledged but not idolized. Let me find a kind of healing that doesn't come through logic, but through presence. Let me see that I don't need to go searching for something to fix in myself today. Maybe what I need is to sit still and let you remind me I'm already held. Maybe I don't need to redo the past in my head again. Maybe I just need to make space for newness right here. And maybe that starts by naming everything I'm letting go of, not with force, but with softness. So I'm letting go of the way I've defined myself by my most difficult moments. I'm letting go of the habit of shrinking every time I remember something I regret. I'm letting go of the inner critic that always wants the last word. I'm letting go of the pressure to be perfect before I begin again. I'm letting go of the need to carry guilt as proof that I care. I'm letting go of the belief that healing only counts if it comes with pain. I'm letting go of the idea that joy must be earned. I'm letting go of the fear that I'll never fully move on. I'm letting go of everything that tells me I'm not enough to simply begin. And in that letting go, I'm making space for mercy to breathe, for peace to settle in, for joy to arrive without explanation, for love to fill in the cracks, blame left behind, for hope to grow where shame once tried to take root, for a new kind of rhythm, one that doesn't match the pace of panic or productivity, but one that moves with honesty and intention, one that says it's okay to go slow, one that says you are allowed to begin as many times as you need, one that says you are more than the worst thing you've ever believed about yourself. And I need to hear that today. I need to let that truth sink deep, not just into my thoughts, but into the places I hide, into the places I protect, into the places that have been waiting for tenderness. Let me see this day through new eyes, not naive, not in denial, but open. Let me walk differently, not with perfection, but with presence. Let me love with more softness, because I've been loved in my hardest places. Let me speak with more grace, because I've been spoken to with gentleness when I expected judgment. Let me show up fully, not because I've proven anything, but because I've laid down the weight of needing to. Let this be the beginning that comes after release, the kind of beginning that isn't flashy, but rooted, quiet, still, real, deep. I'm not trying to prove anything anymore. I'm not trying to win anyone over, not even myself. I'm just here, breathing, learning, returning. And that is sacred. That is more than enough. That is the kind of life I want to live, one where I keep showing up, not perfectly, but wholly, with my ache and my hope, with my failures and my willingness, with my confusion and my trust, with everything that makes me human, and everything that reminds me I'm still connected to something bigger, to you, to love, to the truth that I was never meant to carry this all alone. So this is the end of the beginning, or maybe the beginning of the beginning. Either way, it's a holy place, a soft place, a place where blame is no longer welcome and grace is what lingers in the air, a place where forgiveness isn't a destination, it's a rhythm, a place where I don't have to earn peace. I can choose it, and today I choose it, even if it feels unfamiliar, even if it doesn't fit just right yet. I choose peace. I choose softness. I choose to begin again without punishing myself into goodness. I choose to be kind to the part of me that wants to hold on to guilt. I choose to believe that healing can come in quiet ways. I choose to love the me who woke up unsure. I choose to honor the journey, even if it's winding. I choose to take the next step, whatever it looks like. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for not needing me to earn this. Thank you for standing in the stillness with me. Thank you for not leaving when I doubt myself. Thank you for being the one steady presence when my inner world feels scattered. Thank you for reminding me that blame has no place in love, that shame has no seat at this table, that my story is still being written, that I can turn the page whenever I'm ready. that you're not holding anything against me, that you're already here in what comes next, that I'm already forgiven, already loved, already welcome. Amen.